Welcome to the first edition to the Belmont Record Shop record review. First record I'm going to talk about here is called Cast of Thousands by the Adverts. And this was their second album. I think it came out in 1979. I bought it in 1980, but it was out for a while, I think, at the time. But the Adverts were obviously one of the first of the UK punk bands to emerge in 1976-77, and they didn't really didn't get over to America because none of their records got released here. I first heard about them in this magazine called Deviation Street that I found around 1978. And it had a lot of articles on them and stuff, but I never really got to hear them until probably around 1979. I think the first single I heard by them was One Chord Wonders. But this second album, Cast of Thousands, they signed to RCA in the UK. And by this time they had a different sound. They really didn't sound like it was sort of disappointing for me, actually, when I first bought this album. It didn't sound like a punk album, and that's kind of what I was looking for at the time. It's sort of a very odd sound. It had a little bit of their early sound, but it had some keyboards on it and some synthesizers, courtesy of Richard Strange. It was sort of a fringe figure on the UK scene around that time. But I sort of grew to like this album. It took some time, and the singles from it were Television's Over, which is similar to their first album, and the other single was My Place. So there were two singles, and I don't think either of them did that well. I bought this at a record shop in New Haven, Connecticut called Rhymes, which is no longer there. It actually fizzled out, I guess, in the early 90s. But it was originally run by a couple of women, and it was sort of like a I don't know, a hippie type of place. But they did stock, some punk records when punk first happened. And the store was later taken over by a guy named Maury McCarthy from Hartford. But this album here, Cast of Thousands, it's probably not the ideal place to start for if you're going to get into the Adverts. But it's an album that over the course of time I've grown to like, and I do believe it's on CD now with the obligatory bonus tracks. And it's more in line with the TV Smith and the Explorers stuff that came a little bit later. So if you're a fan of the Adverts, start with the first album, Crossing the Red Sea, and then grab a hold of this one, because it's an album that gets better with repeated listenings. Cast of Thousands by the Adverts on RCA, 1979. And we're called Belmont Record Shop. We're in Orange, Connecticut. We sell records through the site called Discogs, so you can look us up at www.discogs.com/seller/Belmont Record Shop CT as in Connecticut. So if you're ever looking for old records, you might want to give us a shot.